Welcome. It's another episode of the Cool Podcast. For all the patrons out there, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. It's that day of the week where we do the Cool Podcast and post it up and everyone gives it a listen. So, I hope everyone's having a good week with all this crazy stuff going on. I'm here to provide you with content that will maybe distract you from some of the crazy stuff going on. And at least it's a big distraction for myself. Personally, I'm loving it putting out the content for all the patrons out there on Patreon. Thanks for subscribing. So let's get into it. Let's get into the Cool Podcast today and see what we got going on. We got all kinds of new segments and stuff. So get ready. It's the Cool Podcast. Now, I said that we had new segments, and I guess I should have just said that we've got the same segments from last time that we're doing again. That still counts because they're still new. And this is technically episode 2. So we can keep on keeping on with all the stuff that we did from episode 1. We've got to perfect the art of doing the podcast, and we've got to practice makes perfect. So that's what we're going to do today. It's more practice for more podcasts. Just for you, the listener out there. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? We've got the sounds queued up for the segments. We've got all the stuff ready. We had a fun episode the other day, which was Sunday. We had a fun episode all about artificial intelligence. And it was pretty crazy and pretty weird. But we had a lot of fun. Coolbot was glitching out. And I'll spare you from some of the glitches and stuff they had going on. Kind of went crazy, and it was a lot to take in with what Coolbot was doing. So I'll spare you from that on this episode. If you want to check it out, last week's episode, it's over on YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff. So it was a fun episode that we did. And a little behind the scenes stuff. One of the reasons why I felt like a little nervous doing the episode is, of course, we have some crazy stuff to unveil. Some of this stuff from a guy who's been emailing me about a conspiracy that he's got going on. He's been tracking the movements of Zoom Dragon and Jackie Mondragon and her associates and some different companies and stuff, and sending me all these emails. And I said, I got to get to this. I got to air this out for all the listeners. And I kind of waited till the very end. So I've got some of his podcasts to play on our segment called the Podcast Roundup. That's one of the ones we're going to play, Dislosure Hour. So I tried to give as best of a summation as I could, but I don't even fully understand some of the stuff that he was talking about. It's crazy. Like, Jackie Mondragon is a reptilian? That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. I don't know if I can handle that. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And we've also had an update about possibly the whereabouts of Mr. Rude Guy, and got some contact information from one of the rival hacker groups, and I'm going to try to get in touch with some of these people and see if I can get to the bottom of it, because I feel like the truth is out there, and it's not what I've been told, which is that Jeff Bezos hacked us, and I'm even starting to doubt that too. Did that really happen? So we're going to get to the bottom of the Dislosure Hour podcast and listen to a section of that. Another thing that was interesting about the last episode is, and speaking of podcasts, is I happened to get in touch with someone who's doing a podcast about streamers. And I sent them a message on Twitter, and I said, hey, I'm doing a stream today. It's a crazy, cool, weird show. We look at weird stuff on the web or something like that, and it's today. And he had just posted the trailer for his new podcast about streamers. So I said, cool, I'll give it a listen. So then about halfway through doing the show, I said, oh no. I said, oh no. I hope this guy's not listening to the episode, because it's crazy and it's weird and it went off the rails. But it made for some entertaining stuff. So I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. I hope that person was not listening, and we'll see if we end up on this podcast about streamers. That could be cool. Some other stuff, some other updates is that we've got the bonus episode coming in hot, and that'll be this weekend for the super patrons out there. So if you're not a super patron, just close your ears and don't listen, because you don't want to hear this stuff. But there's gonna be a bonus episode coming up, and I thought of a cool name for it. It's gonna be called the Cool Stream Cool Down. That's pretty cool, and it's meant to be a bonus episode that you can watch either before the Sunday's Cool Stream or after. So it's sort of like either a prequel type stream or an after or a sequel. You know how they have all these shows where it's like, hey, it's after the show kind of show. So that's kind of what we're going to do with that. We'll see how that goes. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We're juiced and jazzed, and we're ready for the cool podcast. So I can't get enough of this AI stuff. It's crazy. I've got a website that I'm going to look at real quick that I wish we had been able to show during this, but we missed it, and it didn't come through in time for us to see it. But I was thinking we'd revisit someone that sends light into the world, who does a lot of this motivational stuff on Instagram, and we've seen some of her posts. She's a light worker. A no-nonsense, heart-centered teachings is what she does. That's right, Anna Brown. We looked at some of her videos on the Lightworkers episode of the Cool Stream, and I thought, you know what? It's time to revisit some of these. You can go check her out on Twitter, because we need some of this positivity. It's getting hard out there to stay positive and for things to be feeling good anymore because of how crazy it is. So I thought I would watch a few clips of hers, see what she's got to say, and maybe read a few posts, and then we'll get into some of these segments and other stuff. So let's see what's the latest and greatest from Anna Brown. This one says, "We are instruments for the divine, but who's playing? Who's playing you? Ego or soul?"
Hello, beautiful hearts. So as the lower self, we're not always going to know what's going to come.
Okay, and you kind of need the video to get this, I guess. So go check out the videos. But she's laying on the ground, and it's got dirt. She's covered in dirt. Well, just her arm has dirt on it. She's laying in the dirt.
Come next, and that's kind of the point. The soul lives in the unknown. The soul dwells outside of time. The soul dwells outside of the mind, but it uses the mind as a tool. It uses the body as a tool. You see? The body is a tool. It's an instrument for God consciousness, your true consciousness. You see? So our job as a lower self, if you will, is really to create space and have faith, to empty ourselves of our false concepts and ideations and belief systems, and open up to the unknown. Open up to the heaven that is here.
Okay.
Right? Because so much of our belief systems will tell us, it's not here. I've got to work hard.
It's not here. I'm laughing. This is cheering me up already. I don't even need to watch this. I'm only 40 seconds in.
And that does not feel good. Right? It doesn't feel good because it's not true. Truth is always abundant. Okay? And so what we're doing is we're realigning our perspective with our higher consciousness, and we can only do that when we're not in our minds. You see? We must go beyond mind and come home to our heart spaces.
You see?
Nestle, 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 nestle.
Nestle
your
quick.
beautiful mind into your
Beautiful
sacred
Mind.
heart.
Hey, this is great. That's a great movie. Beautiful Mind, starring, and let's Google it real quick. And I just Googled beautiful, so that doesn't work. Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe. A human drama inspired by the events of John Forbes Nash Jr. Beautiful Mind, one of my favorite movies, 2001. Okay. I had to Google that because I didn't have the reference ready in mind. So here we go. In my beautiful mind, here we go.
Hello, beautiful hearts.
Oh, start
So
over again.
as
No, we need to fast forward.
consciousness, and we can only do that when we're not in our minds. You see? We
see?
must go beyond mind and come
see?
home to our heart spaces. Nestle, 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 nestle.
Nestle quick. I already made
Your
that
beautiful
joke.
mind
Beautiful
into
mind.
your sacred heart.
Wow.
The mind is a servant to the heart, not the other way around. We don't get rid of ego. We don't get rid of mind.
Mind.
They become servants to the divine, you see?
You'll
You're an
see.
instrument. You're an instrument, but who's playing you see? Who's playing you? Is it unconscious ego?
It's the devil, probably.
Or is it
Wow.
love? Is it God? Is it source?
Wow.
Is it light? Who is playing you?
What?
Have faith in yourself. Trust yourself. And question your thoughts. Question
What?
your emotions. Just because you have
Crazy.
thoughts and emotions does not mean they're true.
Huh?
And when you question your mind, it becomes more silent. Because the one who can question is not a person.
What?
It's a higher intelligence that comes in to even ask that.
Freaking
to even
alien.
observe. To whom do these questions belong? To whom do these thoughts belong? To whom do these emotions belong? And those questions are not meant for you to get an answer.
Oh,
Because if there's an
no.
answer, the mind came back in. Those questions are meant to create space and silence and stillness. And that, my friends, is the ultimate truth and the ultimate answer.
All right. That's the ultimate answer. This is a whole vibe, baby. Let's check out some comments in here. You're so lucky. I still have snow in my yard, or snow melted because of you. What? You're the best teacher and it's free. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. She's intense. She said, Godspeed, my friend, and blessings of warm sunshine. Dang. And someone else says, like the Frozen movie. Like the Frozen 2 movie. So much decoding in that movie. They love movies. Great movie. Yas, heaven on earth. A friend said something the other day about heaven on earth no longer existing, and that hurt me to imagine. I love you and your beautiful soul. What? Heaven is undoubtedly here, for it's you. Wow. The beauty of love shines through you. That is some good stuff, so check it out. I'm feeling my soul and my heart and all that stuff is all charged up just from one video. And you got to get the full effect watching her videos. She's very intense, staring at the screen and making these crazy faces. Anna E. Brown 7 on Instagram. Love yourself awake. She's a no-nonsense, heart-centered teacher and teaching the Ascension Guide. One-on-one, open your heart sessions. Want to collab? Heck yeah, let's get a collab going. Alright, so that's got me feeling good. I'm feeling charged up. Ready to do the cool podcast. So, another cool website I found was from a certain company that you know and love, Google. And they have a website called the A to Z of AI. And it's at a2zofai.withgoogle.com. And you probably just Google the A to Z of AI. Making sense of artificial intelligence. This A to Z guide offers a series of simple bite-sized explainers to help anyone understand what AI is, how it works, and how it's changing the world around us. Where do I get started? Browse the A to Z or choose the categories below. It's pretty cool. This would have been a cool thing to have on the show because it's kind of a neat little visual thing that you've got up here. You've got your A, B, C, D highlighted in some of these cool colors and neat illustrations, and I don't even really care what it says about any of the stuff. It's just neat to look at. So go check that out, and let's see if we can just read one real quick about what's going on. Fake images, audio, or video using AI. Oh no, fakes. We hate the fakes. AI has given rise to new ways for technologies to create hyper-realistic deepfake images, speech, music, and video. Oh no, fakes can be convincing. Deepfakes work by studying existing real-world imagery or audio, mapping them in detail, then manipulating them to create works of fiction that are disconcertingly true to life. These technologies, considered impossible just a handful of years ago, have found a wide variety of applications across everything from CGI in Hollywood movies to music production and porno. What? Porno? Uh-oh, that's no good. While many are intended to be entertaining and imaginative, I'll say, why don't you just use your imagination? Come on. Used inappropriately, they can also generate misinformation that may be harmful to society. Convincing fakes injected into public discourse can do significant damage to public knowledge and trust. Fakes can be convincing, but there are some telltale signs that distinguish them from reality. Spotting the deepfake. In fakes of recent years, visual renders of people may look a little glitchy, like computer games. Voices might sound a bit robotic. Characters also blink less or repeat their hand gestures, as it can be tricky for creators to find, map, and replicate source material of people with their eyes shut or hands exposed. Whoa, so watch out for the deep fakes. This is from the Oxford Internet Institute in partnership with Google. We didn't even really look at many deep fakes on the AI show, but we did look at audio and some audio with some crazy music. That was cool. And I tried to find this software where it could synthesize my voice. And then I found out that the company that made it was bought by a different company, and their software AI stuff was integrated into this thing where it would transcribe your voice into like a podcast recorder thing called Descript. And that was I tried to play with it. It didn't do anything cool, so I said, screw it. I guess I could use it for the cool podcast and start snipping and editing and stuff, but anyway, that's a little bit about AI, and we've got some more AI stuff, but it's also AI and podcast related. What? That's kind of cool. But first, let's get into one of our favorite segments, and let's do it right here as the music winds down here. It's the Podcast Roundup. We're going to talk about some podcasts. And on this episode of the Podcast Roundup, we're going to play a clip from Disclosure Hour. So here we go. It's Disclosure Hour, the podcast about conspiracies and stuff.
Greetings, truth seekers. This is the Disclosure Hour podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Head. Today's episode, we are going to continue uncovering what I believe is one of the biggest cover-ups in human history. Our focus this last year has been the shadowy cabal of companies who claim to sell cheap technology and gadgets on the internet. The ringleader goes by the name of Jackie Mondragon. As you know, I believe that she is the leader of a race of reptilians living on planet Earth. The companies she claims to run include Zoom Dragon, DragTech, Shadow Orc, and Dragon Dust. Mrs. Mondragon uses these companies to cover up her operations funneling alien technology to global governments. At this time, Zoom Dragon and its affiliates are offline, and Jackie Mondragon is nowhere to be seen. I believe the global pandemic we are experiencing right now is part of a scheme to destroy the reptilian race. Unfortunately, something must have gone horribly wrong, as the virus is now spreading and killing innocent people. Because of this, I believe that Jackie Mondragon and her reptilian cabal are entirely responsible for countless deaths of people from across the world. I have received numerous threats from Mrs. Mondragon, but I will continue my work to dismantle her entire shadow network, even if it means giving my life. Now, with that out of the way, we need to do a quick ad break. Are you tired of waiting in line at the post office?
Whoa. Well, we didn't get to the ad break, but that was the Disclosure Hour podcast. What? That is some inflammatory stuff. Some crazy allegations going around about Jackie Mondragon and the freaking Zoom Dragon people. I couldn't even understand some of the stuff he's saying there. It was a huge cover-up. Jackie Mondragon's the reptilian, and that Zoom Dragon, she runs all these different companies. I've never even heard of some of these. DragTech and Shadow Orc and Dragon Dust. Those are weird. And one of the things it mentioned was they were funneling alien technology. And that kind of makes sense to me, because I don't remember if you remember the episode where we looked at the Zoom Dragon website. They had all this technology, like weird lasers and stuff. So we're going to have to look into that. If anyone's bought any of these products, to shoot us an email and let us know what your experience is, and maybe we could order some of this technology and see if we can deconstruct it or something and figure out if it really is alien technology. Whoa, that was crazy. That was the Disclosure Hour podcast with Mitchell Head. We checked out his website on the show. And it's some crazy inflammatory stuff. He said he was willing to die for this cause of uncovering the secrets behind Zoom Dragon. And that's some big stuff. And also there was some stuff about the virus, how it was used to destroy the reptilians, and it might be doing that because they're nowhere to be seen. Jackie Mondragon is nowhere to be seen. And if she finds out that I've been talking to this guy, I'm going to be in big trouble. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen to Mitchell Head either, because he's in deep. And also, in some of our back and forth emails, we've talked about some of the hackers and hacking that's been going on. So we're going to see if we can get a guest on to talk about some hacking stuff, because we got to get to the bottom of this, and we got to figure out where Mr. Root Guy is. Okay? So we're still in the podcast roundup, and we've got some other podcast related things to look at. So this is kind of a cool website, a cool post that I found from a Vice article, and it's about how someone used AI, artificial intelligence, and we're back on AI. We love it. About this person who used AI to create these transcripts of UFO podcasts and videos and stuff. And they use the tools to deal with the audio and visual material to create a searchable database of the transcripts and spreadsheets and stuff. No one's ever tried something like this before. And this is from a website, abovetopsecret.com, and their forum, a thread called 2 million plus pages of searchable transcripts of UFO podcasts using AI. And there's like spreadsheets and stuff. So let's go and look through a spreadsheet. That'll be exciting. And here's the TLDR. This person's helped coordinate efforts by numerous UFO groups and researchers to get a mass of digitized written material about UFOs online, including numerous defunct UFO newsletters, magazines, all that stuff, UFO databases, catalogs, and other material. I've now created over 2 million pages of searchable automated transcripts of over 50,000 audio-video recordings. Most of the transcripts so far are of UFO podcasts, and maybe Mitchell Head's podcast is on there, Disclosure Hour. There's all kinds of stuff on here. Let's see, there's a searchable database and different PDFs and stuff. Split it into the following sections. AI and modern automated transcripts using AI, YouTube's AI and playlists for batch production of transcripts. Podcast transcripts, and this is what we want to read, UFO podcasts on YouTube. Let's check it out. So we're clicking through different podcasts here. This one's called Arcane Radio. And there's some other ones, Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. Let's read some of that. Direct link to relevant summary spreadsheet. Guests on the show have included many leading names in UFO research, such as Stephen Greer, James Fox, Richard Dolan. All the names that you know and love. Let's see if we can get to one of these transcripts, because it's kind of fun. Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. Ouija message. Oh, that's kind of cool. Stephen Greer, incredible video, UFO video. Let's see. Richard Doty, surprise call to Fade to Black. The Los Angeles Disclosure Fest live. Let's check that one out. Let's not check that one out. Let's check out a different one. This segment is going without a hitch. Martin Gray, Sacred Sites. I wanted to try to see if I could recreate the podcast. Here we go. I'm going to play some music and I'm going to try to recreate one of these podcasts. This hole radiates for the Mastiff as my anniversary of your life is 1947. The Army Air Force was announced that applying to has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. The game is rigged. Change begins. Change, I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. This is Saved in Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network, a GRA, the Global Radio Hawaiian. We need your help into the year 1985. You're missing. Thank you, Drag with Jenny Judge on the game changing that was, yeah. Fade to Black, the spoke radio for the masses. Hee-yaw, Monday. Great to be back in the chair. Today is July 24th, 204 days into the new year. Just 161 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, either until there, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for CJCR, the Game Changer Network, in KGRA, the planet. I'm here, Semi-Church. What is cracking, everybody? Had a great weekend, and it's Monday, so I'm back in the chair. We didn't stop all weekend long. We just did not stop. Friday night, over a coast-to-coast Saturday, the Den of Lord, Jaws Marathon. Sunday, get together with the family. That was really, really cool, by the way, because our nephew and his wife announces they're having a baby. Well, we gotta get a sound effect for that. So, that was just supposed to be just a nice, simple, cookout with the family. 1-1 full tilt boogie yesterday. And then a Saturday, went out to dinner with Steve Murillo and his wife Pat. And that was great. So we just had, just did it up, did it proper, and had a great weekend. And I'd like to welcome everybody tonight as we're going to continue our first time guest weeks. This is the second week, and tonight Martin Gray is here. We're going to talk about his life, journey, and incredible life that he has had, and his journey to sacred sites around the world. He is, amongst the other things, he's an amazing photographer. He shoots for National Geographic. We're going to share some of his images tonight, and you can do that over on Twitter. Just follow us on Twitter. I had a church radio hashtag, and we're going to get these up there, but it's why is he going off all the sacred sites around the world? That's it, and that's the end of that section of the Podcast Roundup, where we read some podcast transcripts and try to reenact the podcast. Woo, that was fun. I found one when I was clicking around that was a guy who was like, hey, I'm here, and it's just funny when people do their intros on podcasts. And don't say that it's funny, weird when I do it, but when other people do it and they're like, I had a great weekend and I ate lots of wings and had pizza, and it's just kind of funny to read that in text form. And there's not any punctuation or anything, so it's kind of hard to read. Some of the text was not correct, and it kind of blended together in a weird way. So that's Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, Martin Gray, Sacred Sites. So we can go back and listen to that and see if it sounds right. It's kind of funny. So I'll keep looking through these and see if I can find another funny one to read that. That was just a random thing. They've got some other ones: Open Minds Radio, Paranormal Dimensions, Paranormal Mysteries, Podcast UFO, Rogue Planet, Shattered Reality, Skeptic Zone. Wow, maybe that's something that we can read. Skeptic Zone. Behind the scenes at the Skeptic Zone podcast. All right. Did I have anything else for the pod roundup? And we're doing great on time here. We're getting into the final stretch. So I found this thing. This is kind of interesting. I mean, this is still part of the Podcast Roundup. Is a website, and we might have to do a segment to look through this website because it's kind of interesting. It's called Gusher. Turn your ideas into startup. Launch your company using equity. Sign up for free on Gusher. And let's see what here, this is a video.
If you hear the voice inside saying, "There's a better way,"
It's too loud.
if it screams out and won't be silenced, listen, it's time to bring your idea to life.
Gusher.
Hi, I'm Chris Joyce, founder and CEO of Gusher. What's the biggest barrier to creating a startup? Money. And what's the number one thing that money is used for? People. Gusher is a platform to launch companies without the need for money. How? There's a lot of brilliant people with a lot of brilliant ideas out there, except only about 1 in 700 gets funded. There's also a lot of people that want to be involved in startups, except they can't do it full time. They already have a job. They already have a business. They see the upside potential and want to be involved in the startups. Gusher brings these people together. Startups are funded or created using time equity. Talented people are recruited or apply to join a startup at the earliest stage. They work their excess hours or free time on a startup in exchange for equity or the equity award. The process is simple. Create a startup, recruit a team, develop the first version or prototype or minimum viable product, launch the company. When the company launches, team members get their equity awards and everyone is happy. Founders are happy because finally their idea is brought to life, and team members are happy because they get to participate in startups.
Yeah.
It's time to bring your idea to life. Or it's time to help someone else bring their idea to life. Join Gusher now.
Gusher. Oh my god. Gusher. Weird. So it's about joining startups, and the people that work for your startup, they do it because it's fun and it's cool, and they get to do it in their free time and nobody gets paid. And then when your company just launches off the ground, you get some equity in the company. So you get to make $1 bajillion. And I might have to try this because I need to do some work and get some money. So then I thought maybe a new segment could be, and let's do a new segment. Why not? I got a sound. I'm just gonna pick a random sound, and this is gonna be the new segment. Let's check it out. This is a new segment. It's Your Gusher is Gross, and it stinks. All right, it's a new segment I just came up with. Your Gusher is Gross. So it's kind of like some other websites you've heard of where you have to do stuff to buy into whatever's going on these companies. This is Gusher. And let's see, this one's called Beluga. The video resume, Beluga. And they've got 2 to 15% equity among the roles. 28 days left to recruit the team. I want to get on the team. It's in Philly. We love Philly, baby. Wow. They got some cool roles here. Chief Sales Officer. We ought to put the cool stream on Gusher. So you can apply to be a member of the Cool Stream team. And I'm the founder. And you can be the Chief Sales Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Marketing Officer. And that's Jeremy. He's already got that role locked down. But hey, it might be up for grabs if Jeremy's, still sick or whatever. Okay. Beluga.
Hi, my name's Matt Feldman, CEO of Beluga, and I just wanted to take a moment to tell you why
Beluga.
I believe our video resume platform is the perfect opportunity to invest in.
Beluga.
We strive to improve the hiring process by showing who candidates are and not just what they look like on paper. Our platform features a 30-second elevator pitch and a digital interactive resume which showcases a candidate's personality side by side with their experience. This not only creates a more effective hire, but also saves valuable time in the process for everyone involved.
Beluga.
I look forward to showing you how Beluga will change the hiring process forever. Thank you.
Beluga. That's kind of cool. Beluga. The hiring process is broken. It's oftentimes both the most expensive and time-consuming division of a company, while also being the most important. Candidates are repeatedly applying blindly to roles with the same text resume. Recruiters are selecting these candidates based on keywords and eliminating prospective resumes from consideration. Employees are spending countless hours sifting through unqualified candidates. Oh no, who don't fit in the work environment. That's pretty cool. So you can upload a video of yourself and say, "Hey, it's me. I would like to come work for you." And that's Beluga. But can you send a Beluga to the Beluga? Because they're doing video resumes. So you're trying to apply to be the chief sales officer. I don't understand how this works. Here's the team. There's the pitch. And I would like to apply to work at Beluga and get some equity. The chief sales officer. The following goals must be reached to get 2% equity when launched. You got to create a plan of action, manage existing client relationships, develop sales plans, test market verticals, help recruit and build sales team, create sales presentations. Sales, baby. We got to get that money. Or else Beluga's dead in the water. You know your ABCs, and we're not talking about the alphabet. We're talking about always be closing. Whoa! From that movie. You know how to find the gold vein. You know how to figure out what works and what doesn't. Building a team that accomplishes greatness is what you're born to do. You're a sales rock star, but also a team leader. Come join us and change the face of recruiting. So I was reading off the goals of the chief sales officer. So, how do you apply? So I guess you have to log in and have an account. So you have to meet the goals, and then you'll get 2% equity of Beluga. Interesting. So you're kind of just guessing as to what the company, if it's going to be any good, and if you want to do all this work. This is interesting. So we're going to come back. This is going to be a new segment. More new segments coming up. Let me just bookmark this Gusher. A startup website. I'm writing this down. Your Gusher is gross. Gusher. It's kind of weird. Beluga. That was one of the things. This one's called Hurrah. Hurrah! Create custom contests for anything in an easy, simple, intuitive way. Hurrah! It's difficult for individuals to run and keep track of contests, competitions, pools, and the participants' outcomes, winners, and payouts. It is. Let's watch the video. They've got 4 to 20% equity among the roles. 7 days left. Hoorah! Man, so they got the founder, Max Martinez, and Chris Joyce. They got some different roles. Full stack developer, iOS developer, Android software. Some of you code heads, get in here and you can work for Hurrah!
Hi, I'm Chris with Hurrah. So,
Hurrah!
what's Hurrah? Hurrah helps
Hurrah!
anyone create their own custom competitions, contests, and pools. So whether
You do a
it's
contest,
a weight loss
pool stream
competition
contest.
or who wins the game tonight,
Who wins the
tracking
game tonight?
competitors,
My
accepting
favorite
funds,
contest.
and making payouts to winners will be quick,
Was this gambling?
easy, and intuitive.
Sounds like
If
gambling.
you'd like to join our team,
Hurrah!
simply click on roles and apply now. I'd love to go ahead and hear from you. I look forward to talking with you.
So the whole company is about creating games and gamification. So you could create a little gambling pool about who's going to win the big game, and then they'll process all the payments. So you could run a whole illegal gambling scam with Hurrah! That sounds cool. Maybe get the freaking mob involved with that. They dump some money into it. Hey, this one's cool. Code Vodka. This is an interesting website. We love it. The one that I wanted to look at was called The Pod. Do we have time to listen to The Pod? Might as well. 1 to 13% equity, 29 days left to recruit the team. The Pod Corporation. Charles Beckwith is the founder, and he's got his own pod. It's about like fashion or something. So he decided he would do his own company now called The Pod. So this is kind of relates to the Podcast Roundup.
Hi, I'm Charles Beckwith, and I have a kind of popular podcast with about 10,000 weekly listeners. We've been doing it for 6 years now.
The Pod.
And if I didn't meet our listeners at events, I wouldn't know anything about the audience of the show.
No.
And this is a problem across pretty much all podcasts where people are making shows and they're not connecting with their audiences enough because, it goes out on an RSS feed and it gets picked up by the indexes and then people will subscribe. But, they never have to log into your website to get your podcast. Unless...
Are they really listening out there? And you're going to want to check this out. Gusher, The Pod. The video is the guy. I'm not going to comment on his appearance. He's a nice enough looking guy, but he's got a TV behind him, and there's all these cords back here and all this weird stuff. Can you get a background back there, my guy? Come on. Get some kind of background at least if you're going to do this video.
You do weird stuff that actually shrinks the audience.
Oh, no.
So I want to create something that creates a community around influencers, not just podcasts. I mean, we're starting with podcasts.
About streamers.
That's what the minimum viable product is going to be here, is a platform for communicating with podcast audiences and listening to them. There's this huge disparagement in podcasts versus radio, where radio advertising, the dollar amounts that you get per listener are
crazy.
Significantly higher than they are for
radio
podcasts, because podcasts can't prove
radio is the most
they can't say who's
profitable business going right now.
And radio has like Nielsen, and they do the big surveys. And if you have a larger podcast
Nielsen
with millions of listeners, it gets a little bit easier to get that information. But the niche podcasts, the majority of podcasts,
we're a niche podcast. We're on freaking
they don't make
Patreon.
The money they should, and they don't
enough
connect
money
with their audiences in the way that they could. So I want to make that easier.
I want to get involved with this guy.
The Pod is about.
The Pod.
It's a platform for communicating with your listeners and for your listeners to communicate with you. At the same time, surveying demographic data.
All right, so this is The Pod. We want to get engaged with our listeners. Hey, quick, give me a 5-star review on a podcast platform you don't use. We need to solicit some listener feedback. So everyone, if you're checking out the cool podcast, give us a comment and let us know how we did. We want to do some engagement for the cool podcast. So that's why we need to buy into The Pod on Gusher. So that was a little bit about podcasts in the new Gusher segment. All right, so now it's time for the last and final segment, and let's see what I've got. Let's see what I've got queued up for that. All right, here we go. Here we go. And this one's about normal length for the cool podcast. So this is our final segment. Let's just pause this music real quick, and here we go. It's time for the cool recommendations on the Cool Podcast, where I recommend some cool stuff. And that's I think I don't know if I did a song last time, but that's the official song for Cool Recommendations. And this one's cool. You gotta check this one out. It's on YouTube. We love YouTube. And this is a new show that I found, and I need to watch more of these episodes. But I've been getting, during all this quarantine stuff, I've been getting way into some old school history documentaries. There's a lot of stuff from the BBC that's on YouTube, and I found a new show that I love. It's so good. It's my favorite new show.
Ooh, it's so good.
And you're gonna want to check it out. Let's see if I can play like an intro or something. Anyway, it's called Time Team. It's on YouTube. Time Team. Now let's play a quick. There's one guy. One of the guys on here looks like Bernie Sanders. Time Team.
It's hard to believe, but these buildings were once at the very centre of a kingdom that dominated the whole of Western Scotland for over 500 years.
Time Team.
These people are from the National Museums of Scotland, and they've got one final chance to unlock the secret of that kingdom, the Lords of the Isles.
Yes.
What can the Time Team do to help?
Time Team. It's Time Team. We love Time Team. So it's a show about all these different archaeologists working together to uncover stuff in England and across, I guess mostly in England. There's archaeologists, there's a guy who digs up stuff, there's a woman who does some surveying and statistics, there's a guy who looks like Bernie Sanders, and the host is this other guy, and it's Time Team. It's a great show. You're going to want to check that out. There's a bunch of episodes on YouTube, and it's pretty cool. Just throw it up on the TV. Let's see, this one was from Time Team. They just have 3 days to investigate a site in remote Western Isles of Scotland. Where were these 13th century kings crowned, and how did they live? I don't exactly have a date, but it looks to be about around the time of the 90s. That's a different time. Time Team. So check out the Time Team. It's a pretty cool show, and you can just throw it on and do some other stuff in the background, or you can listen to what they have to say because they talk about archaeology and history, and it's quite a different cast of characters on the old Time Team, and you get to see what they're up to and the kind of stuff that they investigate. You get to learn about history along the way, so it's pretty cool. All right. So that was a fun episode of the Cool Podcast. Let's go ahead and do the outro. That was a fun episode of the Cool Podcast. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for being a patron. And we'll see you next time when we're doing the Cool Stream. And if you're a super patron, you can check out the Cool Stream Cooldown, which is the new bonus episode. So thanks for listening to the Cool Podcast. We'll see you next time. See you next week on the Cool Podcast. Bye-bye.